People think that, there's a family, they have nothing to do with Islam, and, they have no Islamic values. But when people have seen them physically, when people witness their attitude, their character, their personalities, the way they spoke, the way they delivered sermons, so things started getting changed. And that was a major jihad. And like I mentioned earlier, that within 1 year, all the empire that Yazid had built on the fake news against Ahlul Bayt, everything had collapsed. People who were in favor of Yazid, even those people started talking against him, and they stood against Yazid, and they told him that, you told us something different, but actually in reality, it is something different. So, since we are studying the lifestyle of our fourth Imam after Karbala, and those 34 years are very important to study the life of Imam, being silent, like jihad, not carrying a sword, but, without a weapon, you are also doing jihad in form of your sermons, in form of your supplications. For example, Saif-e-Sajjadiyya, which has more than 50 du'as, this is also a weapon of Sayyid-e-Sajjad. These du'as, since the tyrant enemy was there, and there were so many restrictions that you cannot, convey your message to people. You cannot, talk against oppressor. You cannot talk about the ruler. So since Imam used this medium in the form of du'as, in the form of sermons, in the form of his speeches, and also in the form of his tears, also in the form of his own personality, and that made people change, that changed the whole scenario. And the major concentration of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin was to keep the legacy of Husain ibn Ali, to keep the mission and the path of Husain ibn Ali, and make sure that everybody is aware. And that, like I said, it wasn't an easy task, because, he has no resources to convey that. So within a very short period of time, Imam was able to convey that message and change people. And that happened that within a year, even people from Damascus, they started talking against Yazid. People of Kufa, even the people of Medina, when Yazid witnessed and he was informed that people are gathering against him and people are talking against him, his intelligence, when they told him that because of the sermons, speeches, and because of the commemoration, of Sayyid Sajjad Imam Zainul Abidin, people are now aware that what has happened in Karbala. So this was a personality of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin after Karbala, that he focused on the legacy and himself being, and that has to be like, another phase or another shape of this story that we have to pay attention to, that Imam made himself as a zakir of Husain. In order to keep this legacy moving, in order to convey the message of Karbala, Imam always remembered Karbala. Imam always talked about Karbala. And that is one of the reasons also that Imam conveyed this message. And not just Imam Ali Zainul Abidin, all other Imams. Our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad says, loud salawat Allah. Rahimallahu abdan ahya amrana. And they said that we pray for those people who gather and they keep our mission alive, who keep our legacy alive. So when you analyze Karbala, there are three parts of Karbala. One, up to the day of Ashura, that has one part, one struggle. The second struggle was from the day of Ashura until Yazid has accepted his defeat, and there's no doubt about that, and people are clear in their minds and hearts that, ultimate victory was with Ahlul Bayt. Ultimate victory was with Sayyid Sajjad and Hazrat Zainab Salamullahi alayhima, because Yazid was, forced to accept the conditions of Ahlul Bayt. Within 1 year, what made him to release them? It's not that, he had mercy for them or he was feeling ashamed what he had done. No, but it was a situation that was created within a year time, and that was through the message, the true message, and a strong message about the oppressor, against the oppressor, and the crime that was committed in Karbala. So the Imam, the foundation that he laid, a strong foundation that he laid for a third phase. First phase is the Karbala up to the day of Ashura. Second phase is a phase of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin and Hazrat Zainab Salamullahi alayhima in the form of their sermons, their speeches. And the third phase, that is even going on right now, and it is going on until the day of judgment. Even at the time when Imam reappears, inshallah, the Imam of our time, please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad. So one phase was Ashura, the other phase was character, speeches and sermons of both son and sister in the form of their words, in the form of weapons that they used. And the third phase was in the form of azadari. Our fourth Imam laid a strong foundation of azadari. Imam himself, first azadara of Husain ibn Ali is the son of Imam Husain. First lady azadara of Imam Husain is the sister. First Zakira is Bibi Zainab, and first Zakir is Imam Ali Zainul Abidin. They laid a strong foundation of azadari, commemoration, remembering Karbala, practicing Karbala, talking about Karbala. And that is one of the reasons that they emphasized so much on Karbala. And they told that never ever forget Karbala, because they knew that as long as people remember Karbala, Islam is going to be there, in its full existence, in its full strength. But if people had forgotten about Karbala, things would have been changed. For example, even see now, I was looking at a video that it's going on social media. I don't know if you have seen it or not. There was a media person in Pakistan. He was going around and asking people in the first Ashra that what happened on the day of 9th of Muharram, what happened on the 10th of Muharram. So he was with a mic, he was going and asking people this question, that do you know what happened in the history on the 10th of Muharram? There was a young guy, and he seemed like, a sensible guy. So he asked him, he said, do you know or remember what happened on the 9th or 10th of Muharram? He said, no, I'm sorry, I don't know. A young Muslim living in a Muslim society, living in a Muslim country. When he was asked a question, what happened on the day of Ashura? He said, I don't know. He said, just think about something. He said, the only thing that I can, memorize, or I can, talk about that what happened, that I have seen Shia beating their chest on the day of the 10th of Muharram. All they do is they beat their chest. But I don't know what happened in the history, why they do that, or what is associated or what is linked with this action. But that's what they do on the 10th of Muharram. So even now, most of the people are unaware of Karbala, but when they look at you, when they look at your dresses, when they look at your commemorations, when they look at your matam, azadari, sina zani, beating of your chest, your majalis, your azadari julus, all that, they make them think that what happened in Karbala. Otherwise, if there was no azadari, for example, then people were unaware. Nobody was there to talk about that who was Yazid and what was the real face of Yazid. So it is basically, and somebody was telling me a story, I believe yesterday, when we were talking about azadari, and he said that in a non-Muslim country, a country that is in majority is non-Muslims, and there were so many sanctions and restrictions about azadari, and you cannot come out, and there was curfew and so many hardships and calamities. But being a non-Muslim, a governor or ruler or the one who was in charge of that town or city, he allowed Shias to come out and do azadari, to commemoration in the days of Muharram. But you need to have a permission that you are a Shia. You have to prove that you are a Shia. So then you'll be allowed to commemorate azadari, and you can come out and perform your rituals. So then they talked about that, how you're going to get permission to show that you are Shia, how you're going to make sure that you prove that you are Shia and you have a piece of paper, then you are allowed to go on the street. He said, you know what, don't worry about any piece of paper, just wear black clothes, come on the street, your clothes are going to announce that you are Shia. So see, your black dress, it makes people think that they are associated with a special school of thought. They are associated with Karbala. They are linked with Karbala. So if there is no, signs of azadari, if there is no signs of or rituals that we have, or commemorations that we have, history is going to forget that. So all the Imams, they focused on and they emphasized on azadari. Never ever, two things. Number one, azadari, and number two, the ziyarat of Imam Husain alayhi salatu wasalam. Recite aloud salawat. Ziyarat of, I'm just like, I wasn't ready for this story, but let me share this with you. there was a son of a governor of Mosul back in the history. He was enemy of Ahlul Bayt, and he made nazar, or he promised with Allah that if you bless me with a son, I'm going to kill Shia, because a governor of Mosul, he was enemy of Ahlul Bayt. So it's the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had nazar, they had committed, or they had promised with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if you bless us with a son, we will make sure that he is enemy of Ahlul Bayt, and will make sure that he will kill Shia. So it's a form of manat of the enemies of Ahlul Bayt. Since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with a son. When the son grew older at the age of 20, the mom and dad, they talked to him and they said that, why don't you go and kill Shia, since we had, this nazar, or we had this manat, and we had this commitment. So he said that I just got ready, and I said, how I'm going to kill Shia? He said that I'll go and sit on a path where the Zaireen of Imam Husain, they pass, and I'll just go sit down, and I'll make sure that, I'll kill Shia as many as I could. So he says that I sat down on that road, and the first day I didn't find no Shia. I was hopeless, and, I just came back home. The second day I got there, and I sat there again. There was no Shia. The third day he says that I was there, and then I saw a caravan, people coming, riding on the horses or camels. I saw some people coming. So I said, today I have an opportunity that I can kill the lovers of Ahlul Bayt. He said, it was far away, the camels. So I said, let me just take a rest. I was tired. I fell into sleep. So while I was sleeping, that caravan, they just passed by. But when they passed by, the dust underneath the feet of the animals, it flew, and it got onto my dress and onto my body. He said, when I woke up, I saw there's nobody that I could kill. The caravan had passed away. So he said, I just went back home, and I fell into sleep. What I saw in dream, it's a real story. He said, when I saw into my dream that on the day of judgment, it's a day of mahshar, and angels are saying that bring the Nasubis, all those who are the haters of Ahlul Bayt, the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, bring them over. So we are going to throw them in the hellfire. He said that he's seeing in his dream. He says that I see that the angels are picking up, the Nasubis and throwing them in the hellfire. He said when it was my turn, they said that, come over, you are also a Nasubi, enemy of Ahlul Bayt. We are going to throw you in the hellfire. He said when the angels picked me up and threw me in the hellfire threw me back. He said they did the second time. They did the third time, but the hellfire is keep throwing me back. The angels asked the hellfire that, this person is the enemy of Ahlul Bayt. He is Nasubi. Why are you not accepting him? And the hellfire replied to angels that there is something that is stopping me to burn him, because when he was sleeping, the dust of the animals underneath the feet of the animal, it flew and it got on his body. Because of the dust of the Zaireen, or the animals, or the rides of the Zaireen, I cannot burn this person. The hellfire said, I'm throwing it back. Now the angel said, all right, we have a solution for that. If the hellfire is not burning this person because of the dust of the Zaireen's feet, or even the rides of Zaireen feet. Let me tell you one more story. We are going to stop this here. One of the grand Ayatullah, he lost his eyesight. On the day of Ashura, he was sitting in the haram of Bibi Fatima Masumah Kum Salamullahi Alayha. And the commemoration Julus was passing by on the street. He asked them that, who are these people? They said that they are, beating their chests, Sina Zani, they are the Matamis, and they are passing through the street. The Ayatullah said that just go and pick up the dust underneath the feet of that Matami, that Azadar, that Mu'min, and bring it to me. It was brought, and he put it in his eyes, and he was able to see. So that was just a dust of underneath the feet of a Matami. So this person said that, the angels threw me again in the hellfire. The hellfire, throw me back. So the angels asked, why are you not burning him? They said that, the hellfire said that I cannot burn him because he has the dust of, the underneath the feet of Zaireen. So I cannot burn him. The angel said, we have a solution to that. Angels took me out and they gave me a shower. They washed away all the dust. They said, all right, now burn it. They picked me up. They threw me in the hellfire. He says that the hellfire threw me back again. The angel said, what's wrong now? You said because of the dust of Zahirin's feet, he is not able to be burned, so we washed away that dust. The hellfire said, he was sleeping, he was breathing in, so some of the dust got into his heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us that whoever has, and that dust that got into his heart created the love of Husain in his heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded me that I cannot burn someone who has a dust or love of Husain ibn Ali in their heart. So he says, when I woke up, I was totally a different person. He said, when I slept, I was enemy of Ahlul Bayt. But when I woke up, I was a lover of Ahlul Bayt. He came to Najaf. He got admitted into Hawza. He became alim. He was also a poet. Then he wrote some lyrics in the love of Imam al-Husain, and those lyrics are still written on the Zari of Imam Husain in Karbala. Allahu Akbar. Please recite Allah Muhammad. Please recite another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Please recite another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. Alright, so I'm just gonna, his name was Abul Hasan Jamaluddin. Abul Hasan Jamaluddin al-Musali. You can even search him on the internet. And the lyrics that he had written, they are still on the Zari of Imam al-Husain. And he said, Iza shaitan najat fazur Husaina. He says that if you want salvation, if you want najat, fazur Husaina, go for ziyarat of Imam al-Husain. Iza shaitan najat. Who was this person? Enemy of Ahlul Bayt, who was changed because of the dust of Karbala or the Zahirin's feet. He was able to convert himself from the enemy of Ahlul Bayt into a lover of Ahlul Bayt. And the lyrics that he had written, Iza shaitan najat fazur Husaina likay talkal ilaha karira ain. Since, when you die and you go on the day of judgment and you go Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you can face Allah with good eyes, with happy eyes, with peaceful eyes. So go see ziyarat, go do ziyarat, go see Imam al-Husain, go visit Imam al-Husain and do his ziyarah, since you want your salvation. Iza shaitan najat fazur Husaina likay talkal ilaha karira ain. And just pay attention to the last two lines. He said, fa inna nara laysa tamassu jisman. Fa inna nara laysa tamassu jisman alayhi ghubaro zuwar al-Husaina. He says, since the fire is not going to touch the body, Allahu Akbar, whoever has the dust of the Zahirin of Imam al-Husain on that body. Allahu Akbar. Abul Hasan Musali Jamaluddin. So Imam Ali Zainul Abidin laid a strong foundation of Azadari, because Imam knew that this Azadari until the day of judgment is going to keep this legacy alive. And that's what our responsibility today. One of our Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam says that if you have to stay hungry, in such a form that you have to eat, just, a piece of bread with salt, Imam says, do that. But do not, never, ever compromise on the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah. Eat just a piece of bread with salt. But make sure that you go visit Imam al-Husain. Why? Because this was, again, to keep this legacy alive, to keep this message alive, to keep this mission alive, to keep Karbala alive. And in history, see what has happened. And this was again established by Imam Ali Zainul Abidin when, Mutawakkil or all the tyrants, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, what they used to do, Mutawakkil, the ziyarat wasn't allowed. If you are going to, go visit ziyarah and go visit Imam Hussain, if there are two people, one person has to give his life, will kill him, and then the other person will be allowed to go do ziyarah. People were there to give their lives for Imam Hussain. And then it was that we are going to cut your hand. If you lose your hand, then you'll be allowed to go visit Imam al-Husain or do ziyarah. So people had faced these calamities, but they never ever compromised on the mission, the message, and the commemoration of Imam al-Husain. Even now, if there are no azadari, if there is no azadari, if there is no these majalis, or if there are no these rituals or commemorations, there are two beautiful lines in Urdu. Let me share like for those who understand Urdu. कुछ देर फर्ज कीजिए ये मजलिसे न हो, कुछ देर फर्ज कीजिए ये मजलिसे न हो, सारा जहां हुसैन का कातिल दिखाई दे. The poet says that, for example, just suppose that for quite some time, there are no majalis, there is no commemoration, there is no remembering of Karbala. The poet says that just assume and suppose for some time that there is nothing, no remembering of Karbala, no azadari, no commemoration. Everyone is going to be looked at like, maybe he is the killer of Imam al-Husain. Everybody will be doubted to be a killer of Imam al-Husain, because azadari separates. And since I have also I mentioned it way before, that now things are changing with the passage of time, with the media, with the current time, with the current situation. With the changing of time, things are also being changed. We used to think and we used to believe that in Islam there are 73, even though there is a hadith, we have that 73 sects, in Islam. For example, Barelvi Sunni, for example, Hanafi, Salafi, Hanafi, and Maliki, and Wahhabi, and all these. But, nowadays when you look at it, even Ahl al-Sunnah, they are praising Imam al-Husain. A lot of Ahl al-Sunnah scholars on the media, coming on the media, talking about Karbala. So things are changing, and now don't think that this person is, praying while, his hands are tied over his stomach and he is not the part of Ahlul Bayt. No, and we cannot even look into the heart of somebody, how they are feeling. So instead of 73 sects today, those 73 sects have been shrink down to just two major sects. And one is the sect of Husainiyat, and the one is the group of Yazidiyat. So now you don't need to ask people that you are a Barelvi Sunni or Hanafi Sunni or Maliki Sunni or you are a Wahhabi or what you are. Just ask them, you are Husaini or Yazidi? Simple question, just ask them. We don't care you pray like this or like this or like this. But tell us, do you have love of Husain in your heart? If you have love of Husain in your heart, you are, respectable person for us. We are here to respect you. We love you. Why? Because you have the love of Imam al-Husain in your heart. See, that is the focus now. All the Imams, and especially our fourth Imam, they had focused on the love of Imam al-Husain. They had focused on azadari. They had focused on these rituals. Somebody from Medina came to our fourth Imam and he said, Maula, my son is getting married and I'm here to invite you. Why don't you join us in the wedding ceremony? Imam replied, Imam said, after Karbala, I'm not attending any weddings. I don't go out for weddings. So he said, Maula, no, I have a wish, I want you to come to my home. Imam said, there's only one thing that I can come to your home, if you have a majlis for Abba Abdullah. If you have a gathering that, is related to my father, remembering Karbala, if you have that, I'll come there. So he said, Maula, sure, why not? If you can come because of a majlis, sure, on the day of wedding, I'll have a majlis for Imam al-Husain, so please come. So he made arrangements. He had, a chair for Imam, a special chair for Imam at a very respectful place. Imam came, he made Imam sit down, and Imam said that, just bring one zakir and let him talk about Karbala on the day of the wedding of his son. So a zakir started talking about Karbala, and when the majlis was over, the host was looking for Imam and he could not see Imam. So he said, what, Imam was here on a chair, but now he's not sitting on a chair. Where did he go? When he was looking around, Imam was sitting at the place where people had left off their shoes and entered into the house. Imam was sitting there at the place of shoes. So he said, Maula, that was your place. The chair was for you. Why you are sitting over here? Imam said that when there is a majlis of Aba Abdullah, my grandmother Fatima comes into that majlis. So when Lady Fatima comes into that majlis and sits down on the floor of Aza, I cannot sit over there on the chair. So this is the place that I found perfect for myself, where the Zaireen, where the Azadar, where are the participants of the Majalis are taking off their shoes. Imam loved Azadars. Imam used to, respect so much for those who ahya amrana, who are keeping this legacy alive. Brothers and sisters, since it's the last majlis today, so let's follow the practical message of Karbala. What is the practical message of Karbala? To spread love. Imam Ali Zainul Abidin, he spread love. He attracted people. People were fascinated by what? By the love of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin. And in one of the hadiths it is Hurmatul Mu'min afzalu min al-Kaaba. That the respect of a believer, respect of a mu'min is greater than Kaaba, is greater than holy Kaaba. And Karbala has so many lessons for us. For example, one lesson in Karbala, there are no nationalities in Karbala. There is no differences between the colors, between the languages, between what part. Imam al-Husain had an open offer for everyone, which part of the country, which part of the world he is from, whatever languages he speaks to, whatever color he has, as long as he is Husaini, or he belongs to the camp of Husain, Imam Husain welcomed him with the open arms. For example, John, who was he? An African with a dark skin, with a black face. But Imam Husain invited him. He came, he joined Imam Husain. Imam welcomed him. And he was amongst those 72 martyrs. John, when Imam was not giving him permission to go fight, he said, Maula, is that the reason that my color is black? I'm dark, I'm African, my blood smells. Is that the reason that you're not allowing me? Imam said, no, that is not the reason. That when Imam allowed him to go fight and John got murdered, Imam got over to the body of John and Imam prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma bayyiz wajha. Ya Allah, oh my Lord, my master, he used to think that his face is dark, so he might not be able to join the participants or, the martyrs of Karbala. Oh Allah, please change his face color and make him bright. Allahumma bayyiz wajha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the moment changed the color of Hazrat John from dark to bright. It was shining, glorified face. He was an African. He was also amongst the 72. Who was Wahab Kalbi? Not a Muslim. Wahab Kalbi was a Christian. But Imam Husain had an open offer for everyone. Even Christian joined the army of Imam, the camp of Imam. He was converted. His Wahab Kalbi's mother, she also gave her life for Imam al-Husain. All right. So Imam Husain's camp is open. And that is one of the reasons that in our majalis, we don't ask people, what is your religion? What is your sect? What school of thought you belong to? Everyone is allowed and everyone is invited to come to the majlis. In mosque, you can't do that. In mosque, there are certain restrictions, that apply. Not everyone can enter into a mosque, because you have to be in a pure form. You have to be pak. You cannot be najas. If you are najas, you cannot enter into a mosque. But when it comes to the majlis of Imam al-Husain, Imam Husain does not ask you are najas or you're pak, because Imam Husain calls you and invites you for majlis, and he comes in a najas form, he comes in the form of shirk and kufr, but majlis makes him pure. Majlis makes him pak. The zikr of Imam al-Husain makes him pak. So that is the place that Imam Husain, and I also, let me give you one more sentence. Majlis of Imam al-Husain is Safinatun Najat. Safinatun Najat, the Holy Prophet, had a hadith that Innal Husayna Misbahul Huda was Safinatun Najat. Husain is Ark of Salvation. So today, where is that Ark of Salvation? That Safinatun Najat, Kashti-e Najat, the Ark of Salvation is Majalis-e Husain. This is the Safina of Husain. Majlis of Imam Husain is Ark of Salvation. Majlis of Imam Husain is Kashti-e Najat. Majlis of Imam Husain is that place that is inviting everyone to come. But, brother and sister, let's pay attention to that. Maybe because of my speech, because of my words, because of my sayings, I stop somebody to come inside. I have to be careful. I have to spread the message of love. I have to spread the message of Imam Husain, which is the message of attraction, which is the message of fascination. I shouldn't say anything that stops someone from coming inside. Similarly with you, the organizers, the volunteers, the management, the participants, let's react to other people. Let's, with our attitude, with our body language, with our politeness, how we react to people, how we invite them, how we, interact with them who come to the Majlis of Imam al-Husain. Just think that he is not my guest. He is the guest of Az-Zahra who has come into the Majlis. He's not my guest. He's not coming for me. He's not coming to pay condolence to me. He has come here to pay condolence to the Lady of Paradise for her son. He has nothing to do with me. He has come for the Lady of Paradise. So he is the guest, or she is the guest of Imam al-Husain. She is the guest of Lady Fatima Az-Zahra. All right? So we are just the humble servants of Ahlul Bayt. We should show our humility. We have show our love, our attitude, our politeness to attract people. Respect them, in any way, no matter what. If a Christian comes, if a Hindu comes, if a Sikh comes, if a Jew comes, whoever, don't ask them their religion. If they are coming here with the love of Imam al-Husain, respect them. Do whatever you can for them. Do whatever you can for them. Just thinking and considering they are the guests of Fatima Az-Zahra. They are the guests of Imam al-Husain. If there are different kind of people. People have their jobs, people have their responsibilities, people have their commitment. Some people can come before the majlis, some people come during the majlis, some people can come at the end of the majlis. So let them come. At least if they are coming, respect them. At least if they are coming, no matter when they come, whenever they come, respect them with the depth of your heart, with the bottom of your heart. Imam Husain did not ask, Hor, why are you coming at the end? Did Imam Husain ask, Hor, why are you coming now? When everything has been done? You are the main culprit. Now at the end when I have lost everything, with which face you are coming now? Imam Husain did not ask Hor that why are you coming at the end. So if Imam Husain did not ask Hor, why are you coming at the end? So who are you and me to ask people, why are you coming when the food is being served? Or why are you coming when the majlis has, finished? Or why are you coming now when everything? No, let him come. Let's not be a hindrance. Let's not stop for somebody to become Hor. You and me, we shouldn't be a reason to stop somebody to become Hor. Welcome them whenever they come, whatever they can do. Whatever they can do. They listen to the majlis. If they do matam, mashallah. If they don't do matam, for example, in their mazhab, if the matam is not allowed, don't force them to do matam. So many Ahlul Sunnah, they do not do matam. But they have sabil, they give water to the matamis, to azadars, to the commemorators. So each and every person has a different way of azadari. Some people cry, some cannot cry. Some people, they have their own ways. They come in the matami halka and do matam. Some they cannot, But whoever is coming into the majlis, believe you me, brothers and sisters, they are getting some love of Husain ibn Ali in their hearts. Some love. And just this tabarruk that you eat, you think that this is just a food? No, it is not food. When for example, stone, when you go for Hajj and Umrah, Hajr Aswad, what is that? A stone. All right? But when that stone is associated with Kaaba, also there is another history, being an angel. But when that stone is associated with Kaaba, now it's not an ordinary stone. All right? When the cover around the Kaaba, it's just a black cloth. But when that black cloth is wrapped around the Kaaba, now it is not an ordinary cloth. Now it has significance. Now it is associated. Similarly, this food is not an ordinary food. Outside the center, it's an ordinary food. But when it comes into the center, your potluck, the dishes that you bring, Now it is not an ordinary food. What is it? It is tabarruk of Imam al-Husain alayhi salam. It is niyaz of Imam al-Husain alayhi salam. When that niyaz is associated with Imam al-Husain, you think that somebody is going to eat it and it's not going to affect his heart inside? How can you stop that? If somebody is eating niyaz of Imam al-Husain, he's going to have change in his heart. Maybe today, maybe down the road. At some point of time, he's going to have effect of niyaz of Imam al-Husain. If somebody is just sitting here and spending some time, he is going to have effect of just being here and just being listening and sitting here. So let's be open to everyone. That is Husainiyya. That is the message of Imam Zainul Abidin. Imam welcomed everyone through his open arms. The invitation of Karbala was open. Anyone can join. Anyone can come and pay condolence. Imam did not restrict people on the basis of their colors, their languages, their backgrounds, which part of the continent they belong to. No, it was an open invitation. So let's be an ambassador, and that is the third part. First part was up to Ashura. Second part, the legacy of Karbala, the message of Ashura. Imam Zainul Abidin carried it on, conveyed it, and then he changed into Azadari. No, Imam is not here physically amongst us, our fourth Imam, but the institution of Azadari that he set up, that is going to go until the day of judgment. So this legacy is going to go on. So you and me, we are lucky enough to be part of it. Think that Imam has chosen us to do this. If I'm an organizer, if I'm spreading these sheets for the people to come, if I'm getting the kitchen ready, if I'm getting these mics ready, it's not that, nobody else can do that. Think that Imam has chosen you to do that. Everybody can do that. But why are you doing it? Because Imam has chosen you to do that. Feel lucky enough. Have pride in it. Feel proud that Imam has chosen you for these services. But when Imam has chosen me for these services, so I shouldn't be arrogant, I should be humble enough. I should interact with people, being polite and being friendly and being open, with open arms. I have to welcome everyone. All right, that is the message of Husainiyyah. And from now onward, have something in your mind, only two sects, Husainiyyah and Yazidiyat. If you are lover of Husain, we are not going to ask you your religion, your school of thought, the ways you worship, the ways you practice your religion. We're not going to ask you. As long as you have love of Imam al-Husain, you are the guest of Husain. See what happens in Karbala on Arba'in. Our Iraqi brothers are sitting here. They feel so proud and so happy and so blessed that Zahra of Imam Husain is visiting there. Scholars, the community leaders, the richest people of the community, they sit down and they're giving you feet massage. They are polishing your shoes. They are, taking care of you. Why? Because they know the importance. They know the service for Imam al-Husain. They have seen it. You and me living in this Western dunya, so many things that we are not aware of. We think dollar and pound, safe and sound. That's all we know here. But people, in the different parts of the world, they have seen the reality. They have seen the love of Imam al-Husain. What is the importance of the love? What is the importance of the ziyarat? What is the importance of to give respect for the zahira of Imam Husain? There was a young man. His wife was old enough and she wanted to do ziyarah. And she was asking her son that, son, I'm going to die pretty soon. And my last will or wish is that I'm going to do ziyarah, but I can't walk. I can't walk. All right? He was a farmer. So the son said that, I can carry you on my back and I'll take you for the ziyarah. So that farmer, that young man, he lifted up his mother over his shoulders. He went for the ziyarat of Imam al-Husain. And he said, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. From the Zari, he got reply of Imam al-Husain, alayka salam, because Imam knew that he is providing service for one of my Zaira. It's not that it's just his mother, but she was the Zaira of Imam al-Husain. So if you respect the Zair, Azadar, a Mu'min, a believer, for the sake of Imam, not for the sake of himself. Not that if he's rich, I'm going to give him more respect, and if he's not rich, I'm not going to even talk to him. No. As long as he is within the premises of Imam al-Husain, with the association of Husain, he is, most respected. So when you respect someone because of Imam al-Husain, you think Imam is not going to look at you? with a loving heart, with the loving eyes. Imam is not going to help you while we are in the grave, on the day of judgment, on the day of Mahshar. So many stories. And you know that story of one of that Az-Zahra who used to recite Ziyarat-e-Ashura, getting up on the roof and every day facing towards Karbala. When she died, there was another young man who wasn't a good person. He was also buried, in that graveyard. And he came into a dream. One of his friend, he saw a dream that my friend is in heaven, in a beautiful place. So he asked him, he said, you were not a good person. Any good thing that, I didn't see you performing any good action. How come you got entered into the paradise? He said, you are right. I wasn't a good human being. I wasn't a practicing Muslim. I didn't do anything good. But something happened all of a sudden. Allah blessed me with the paradise. He said, what has happened? He said, there was a lady who had love of Husain in her heart. She got buried into this grave. And Imam al-Husain visited that lady in her grave. And because of the blessings of Imam al-Husain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed and forgave all the deceased people in that graveyard. So this is the love of Husain, brothers and sisters. Ya Ali, love of Husain, love of Husain, tears for Imam Husain. Any small thing that you see how cheap the paradise is. Man baka, aw abka, aw tabaka, wajabat lahul jannah. It's a promise, it's a hadith. The one who cries, the one who makes someone cry, or the one who makes his shape, make others look at that he is crying or he is about to cry. Even somebody faking with the face that he is about to cry, wajabat lahul jannah. Masoom says that we give him paradise. Jannat is wajib upon them. Why? Because this is a wish of a lady of paradise about her beloved son. She had asked the Holy Prophet when Imam Husain was born. The Holy Prophet came, lifted Imam Husain over his hands. Jibreel came and Jibreel told the Holy Prophet that your grandson is going to be murdered in Karbala one day. The Holy Prophet cried. Hazrat Fatima asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Abata, why are you crying? My son born today, you should be happy. The Holy Prophet replied, Fatima, I was happy, but Jibreel just came and told me that one day your grandson is going to be killed. He's going to be hungry, he will be thirsty, and he's going to be killed in the battlefield of Karbala. So that day is making me cry. So then she asked question, oh my dear father, the day that I'm going to lose my son is going to be killed, will you be there to help him? The Holy Prophet said, Fatima, no, I'm not going to be at that time. His father Ali, will he be there? No, Fatima, Ali is not going to be there. Will Hassan be there? No, Fatima, Hassan is not going to be there. She asked a question, oh my dear father, if no one is going to be there to help Husain, then who is going to cry for my beloved son Husain? Who is going to commemorate for him? Who is going to remember him? The Holy Prophet said, Ya Fatima, Allah is going to create a nation. That nation is going to do zikr. They are going to cry for Imam al-Husain. And then she promised, she said, oh my dear father, if that nation is going to remember my son Husain, I promise on the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to allow me and order me, Fatima, you are the lady of paradise, go enter into paradise, I'll go sit on the door of paradise and I say, Ya Allah, those azadars, those matamis, those people who remembered my son, those who cried for my son Husain, as long as they enter into the paradise, then I'll follow them, I'll enter after them. First, allow them to enter into the paradise. So this is a wish of a mother that she wants to see people cry because the reason is no one could cry for Imam al-Husain. When the daughter was about to cry, Shimr used to come and slap her and stop her from crying. When the sister is getting ready to cry and remember Imam al-Husain, Shimr used to come with the taziyana and hit her on the back and she was not able to cry. When the son Hazrat Imam Ali Zainul Abidin used to cry, Shimr used to hit him and make him stop from crying. Azadaro, it was the life of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin. When someone gives him water, he used to cry. When someone brings the food, he used to cry. Someone asked him, oh, Ya Sayyidus Sajidin, why are you crying? Imam used to reply, look towards Karbala. Qutul abna Rasulullah jaya, Qutul abna Rasulullah atshana. How cannot I stop crying? My father was killed while he was hungry. My father was killed while he was thirsty. And when Imam used to walk on the streets of Medina, the butchers used to hide the animal. They could not, slaughter the animal in front of the Imam's eyes. One day Imam was passing through and a butcher was about to slaughter an animal. He hit the animal and he said, let Imam not see this animal being slaughtered. Imam said, you know what? It is allowed. It is sunnah of my grandfather. It is sunnah. It is allowed. Just answer this question. Did you feed this animal before you slaughtering him? Did you give him water before you slaughtering him? The butcher said, yes, Maula. We always feed them. We always give them water. Then we slaughter. After Imam heard this, Imam looked towards Karbala and Imam said, Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah. Oh my dear father, your grandfather's nation give water to animals before they slaughter them. Your fate, your kismat ya Aba Abdullah. You were slaughtered with the dry throat. You were slaughtered with the knife while you were thirsty. Azadaro Imam Ali Zainul Abidin used to cry all the time. One day Minhal came to him and Minhal asked him, Maula, up to what time you are going to cry? Always you are crying. If it's daytime you are crying. If it is night time you are remembering Karbala and you are weeping. Until what time? Imam said, and then that person said that see, Hazrat Imam Ali Zainul Abidin, Imam said that my whole family was murdered and killed in Karbala. He said, Maula, I know that they were killed in Karbala, but Shahadat is pride for you. Shahadat is Saadat for you. Imam said that no, you are not just, you are not saying the truth. One son of Hazrat Yaqub, he was lost, he was misplaced, and Hazrat Yaqub cried so much. He lost his eyesight. He said, just because of one son, Prophet Yaqub lost his eyesight, but I did not lose one. The whole family was murdered. My brothers, my cousins, my father, everyone was murdered in front of my eyes. Then he said, Maula, Shahadat is pride for you, is a glory for you, is Saadat for you. Imam said, yes, Shahadat is Saadat for us, but how about my aunties without their hijab, without their sheet, without their chadar, being from one street to the other, one city to the other, from Karbala to Kufa, Kufa to Sham, going through 36 cities, 1400 miles. Is that also pride for us? That is making me cry. That is making me a azadar of Aba Abdullah. Allah la'natullahi alal qawmi zalimin. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Matam Husain.